What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about Pokemon Let's Go and saying that unfortunately I am never ever going to buy it, but I feel like I have a very good reason why. You see, it really comes down to the fact that I grew up playing Pokemon. I was there at ground zero when Pokemania took over the planet. Everybody everywhere had to get these things. People would oftentimes buy red, blue, and yellow and trade all among them. Personally, I managed to not only level up every Pokemon, but get all 151 of the originals. And this began a lifelong addiction where I kept jumping onto each new generations and getting completely invested in this new batch of pocket monsters to capture. I still remember so many great times like being at the peak of Pokemania. At one point, my mom took me to the laundromat to try and wash some sheets, and when I walked in there was this other kid who had Pikachu shoes on, and every time his shoes would touch the ground, they would actually light up, and it was basically like Pikachu doing a thunderbolt. And it really struck me the fact that this is a global phenomena. But I think that a big reason that these games blew up in the first place is because it's not just the great art design, it's not just the fact that they were cute little monsters, it was the fact that at its core, Pokemon is pretty tough. And I say this with a lot of experience. So just over the last couple months, I've actually been going back through and rebeating every single generation of Pokemon purely for fun. This is actually Pokemon Crystal, and I'm about to take on the Elite Four, and it has been a blast trying to grind and level up all my different people to get my own team of awesome war machines. But I've definitely noticed that there is a great amount of appeal to being slightly confused in this. There is an allure to try and go against really strong Pokemon that you've never faced, trying to figure out their elements, their weaknesses, and how exactly to drop them and progress. Getting stronger in these games is so uniquely fun because it makes it really feel like a team effort, even though obviously you're playing by yourself. And unfortunately, Let's Go does not at all manages to replicate that magic. So just a couple weeks ago, I finally got a chance to play Pokemon Let's Go, and it was an extremely disappointing experience. I went into this with an open mind, and Nintendo gave me a short demo of it, and well, the biggest issue is the fact that it's way too easy. I will say that I'm glad the fact that it has such cool art, and it's really cool being back in Kanto, but so many different facets of it just feel like it's made for 4-year-olds. Like, one of the things is the fact that there's shared experience, which later Pokemon games had, but here it makes it where every single time I get into a fight or beat another trainer, I feel like every Pokemon levels up 5 times, making it where there's essentially not going to be grinding. Another thing is the fact that when you're going along, you actually get into fights, but they're not random. You'll just see Pokemon hanging out in the grass and you walk up to them and immediately start throwing Pokeballs. And when you capture them, you get experience points, and if you want, you can then trade those Pokemon in to Professor Oak and get a bunch more experience. It makes it where the entire game feels like the fun and action completely fast forwarded. But on top of that, the biggest issue is that everything I've seen and tried myself is so painfully simple. I mean, every single enemy seems to die in like one freaking hit. That is not the point of Pokemon. Pokemon is about grinding, it's about leveling up, it's about sometimes getting frustrated that you can't beat that next gym leader. That is the fun of it though. Being able to literally catch them all through brute force and determination is why we pick these games up. Let's Go Pikachu is so baffling to me in Let's Go Eevee because I feel like a lot of people don't know what to do with it, but some of the most hardcore Pokemon fans are defending it saying it's for children, it's not for adults, it's for little tiny kids. But the reason I don't like that defense is because you and I, many of us beat the games when we were 9 years old. I mean, shortly after I literally learned the English language to actually read it on the page, all of a sudden I'm trying to figure out stat weaknesses and trying to actually figure out how the heck I'm going to level up all these different different monsters. I actually wrote out different lists on paper to make sure I could find every single area and every single spot I needed to go to try and catch them all. Why would you think that kids nowadays are too dumb to figure that out? I mean, Pokemon is supposed to be something that teaches you math and memorization. That's why I got so addicted to it. So I never really talk about this, but growing up, I went to 10 different schools. Every couple months we had to move, and it unfortunately was very, very tough on me. But a big core of the reason I was able to survive this is that I always had Pokemon by my side. It was a language to me. This ability to try and have these Pokemon on my Game Boy let me just basically find the nerds of every single school I went to, and I could immediately just have this way to converse, to walk up and say, hey, do you got a Dragonite? Hey, do you want a duel? Hey, I've got a link cable. Do you have anything extra that you want to swap? There was this great camaraderie to trying to beat all these games, but along with that, the real challenge of trying to figure out how the heck you are going to do this insurmountable task of getting, capturing, and training every single one of these monsters. That is such a great experience that I feel like is not at all instilled in Pokemon Let's Go. Are you really trying to tell me that little kids are going to be picking this up and getting the same kind of magic? I don't think so. And I feel like it's going to end up having a giant backfire, which is that the people who get on board with this and believe that this really, really simplified version of the game is the Pokemon experience are going to be very let down. They're going to probably go, this is what all the hype was about? So I feel like the big part of this that I really don't care for is the fact that I think that Nintendo's idea behind this was that Pokemon Go was huge. I mean, it's hard to deny the fact that that cell phone game made hundreds of millions of dollars through some pretty smart and pretty not invasive microtransactions. So I think that Nintendo is now trying to turn the people who have owned cell phones into hardcore Pokemon fans. That audience, though, isn't going to want to jump over to this. It feels like such a bad move to try and take people from cell phone users into this really kiddie pool version of the game and hope that they'll jump over to the real Pokemon in 2019. I feel like what they should have done is make Pokemon a very direct remake. Let's Go should probably be, in my opinion, a closer remake to Red, Blue, and Yellow. I think that it should have had some really tough fights, some really good puzzles, and some stuff that's going to make you understand the Poke universe as it is. And then with it, maybe make an easy mode. Maybe call it something different like beginning trainers. An opportunity for people who do want to try and really slide past stuff to basically play it like the Pokemon Go app. Making the default way to play it, though, such an ultra simplified version of the game feels like such a missed opportunity. Let me make a metaphor here, a real comparison that I think tries to highlight why I believe that this is such a major issue. So at this point, I think we all realize that Zelda Breath of the Wild is not only one of the highest selling games ever on the Switch and Wii U, but is now also one of the highest selling Zeldas of all time. But why is that? Well, personally, my theory is the fact that Zelda Breath of the Wild is very, very tough in different ways than other Zeldas. You're having to worry about breaking weapons, eating food, keeping your health all maxed out, making sure your body is warm when you go up into the top of mountains. It creates a very different but mirrored experience to classic Zelda. It's very easy to get into it because people aren't having to worry about lore or studying or what they've missed. And I feel like that's a very good opportunity to make it where it's a gateway drug. I know tons of people personally who bought Zelda Breath of the Wild and it was their first Zelda ever. And you know what they got next? They actually picked up their 3DS that was collecting dust in their office and ended up getting the Ocarina of Time remake. Because it was an opportunity to go, okay, I understand Link, I understand Ganon, and I understand Zelda. Let's go on a new adventure with them. Whereas Let's Go, it doesn't really seem to be doing that. Let's Go is a side pivot, but instead of trying to amp things up or re-flavor the same stew, it's just basically a small chance to try and remonetize an idea that seems so played out. Ultra casual games, if anything, are becoming less popular. Now, I'm going to make a bet here, and you guys are probably going to laugh at me for it, but I think that the sales of Pokemon Let's Go are going to be much much lower than the last few Pokemons. And I think the reason for that is because it doesn't really hit those notes. It doesn't really provide the challenge, it doesn't provide the extra effort, and it doesn't really do anything that feels new and different. I am somebody who loves Pokemon. I grew up with it, and personally, I really want to see more of it. I want to see new monsters, I want to see new areas, and I want to see new things that are gonna, of course, eat my face. But Pokemon Let's Go is none of that. It's a big zero, and because of it, it's not getting a penny from me. If somehow they patch it down the line and it becomes dramatically different, or they introduce a classic mode that plays more like the Pokemon we know and love, I might look into it. But as of now, this seems like a giant cash grab and I want no part of it. But what do you think? Are you somebody who's a little bit on board with this, or are you totally against the idea of an ultra-casual version of a game that used to be so fantastic? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Okay, I gotta get back to working on my 15 secret projects. I have 3 big reviews coming out next week, and I'm trying to beat all 3 of the games right now, so, yeah, I gotta get to work. Subscribe! Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.